With the Fanny already banned out by Coach Jack Lee. From the side of APBR, they have decided to actually respect Dixon here with a Terizla banned out first in the first phase.
Still very safe, I would say, but
Time to drop the
for both these teams, they have data already of how both likes to play. Earlier, DEWA were able to utilize that Terizla to heavily dictate the matchup, the neutral objective control as well, from Team Nova to a 10-minute victory. Meanwhile, for APBR, they were able to use the Nolan, but so far, right now, DEWA are still just targeting down the other assassins, trying to force that Nolan ban on APBR.
And now with the Boxia taken out, we can probably expect a Fredrin ban as well here in the first phase. DEWA United prioritized the Matilda first, taking away that support roam coming in, possibly. And for APBR, that's the question. Do they want to take out Nolan here? Or do they want to take out Fredrin? DEWA United do have a chance to pick up Nolan if they go for the latter.
It's a bit too risky to leave the Nolan open. We know exactly what APBR were able to do, but hey, knowing APBR, leaving Nolan open is something that they have done before. Before the nerfs even. They've left the Nolan open. It was up against Blacklist International, against Sensui. And they've opted to go for counter picks, like the Phobius even. But this game, they'll do exactly the same. They'll ban out the Edith instead, force out a Nolan pick from DEWA, and maybe try to counter it with a Phobius or some lockdown.
We'll see. Alright, yes, Nolan gets locked in here from DEWA United, the Indo representative. And we'll see the response coming in from APBR.
Oh no, it's
gonna
Bruno.
Be Bruno coming in. Who's it gonna be accompanied with? Do you think they will go in for a Phobius? I think it's too early. I would leave that for maybe later on.
I will choose my own path.
Yeah, they will. It's gonna be the Arlet pickup. A hero that has just recently been buffed twice, I would say, from the last patch and this patch. The ultimate, they got a bit faster for that final slash to be thrown out. And also now, just a revert, I would say, an adjustment to all of the base stats that he lost in a lot of the patches before. And for DEWA, it's still going to be the Faramis pickup for them. It's a pick that we have seen all 3 games so far in MPL 2023.
It's risen in popularity for sure. And I wonder why that is. We haven't seen, okay, I guess Novaria we've seen, it was banned out as well in the previous match. But other than that, it's always just been Faramis, Novaria, Faramis, Novaria. What makes Faramis such a hot pick here?
Well, I think it's just the ability to get that Netherrealm down, right? With a lot of different mages getting nerfed, with a lot of the meta now shifting towards back to team fights, Faramis just gets incredible value with that Netherrealm and obviously the AoE damage from the Ghostbursters and even the Shadow Stampede. You kind of have a bit of everything, from CC to additional utility HP to burst damage.
And it's a wonder then why Valentina hasn't been as popular, as favorited. Because, I mean, back in the day when the Faramis was so OP, it was such a hot and heavy pick in the meta, you would always see the Faramis and the Valentina being contested interchangeably. But now we don't see the Valentina whatsoever, and instead APBR will close out the first phase with a Fredrin pick.
The proof that I'm
The
still
first
alive.
Fredrin pick of the day. It's strange to say that after basically being in the Fredrin era for the last, what, 4 months?
Yes.
Now Fredrin making his debut in MPL 2023 in its 3rd match. We did see it banned though, however, in game number 1 of the second phase by APBR themselves. So you can see that they still have a lot of emphasis. They still have a lot of success playing this hero and maybe not too much going up against it.
It's so crazy though. Fredrin just continuing to be Fredrin all throughout so many patches, so many shifts in meta, yet he's still able to be utilized. Man, it's like the gods look down on him and be like, yeah, you're the one.
I mean, we were talking about Fredrin, but hey, even the Joy, a big nerf, I would say, right? With the second ability now being able to just stopped by a lot of the CC, but still is one of the prio bans still because of that damage adjustment. Meanwhile, for the second phase, it's the Brody taken away by APBR. They already have that Bruno. Don't want to give the Brody over to Watt, knowing that it is a playmaking hero that he can make a lot of use with. Meanwhile, for DEWA, they do not want APBR to be able to set up and for that Bruno with a Tyroth with that physical defense shred.
Definitely could be paired in with something crazy. But what will DEWA United ban out after the Dyroth? So they're saying that they want a free lane for the Uranus. Do you think a Khalid ban can come through once again here from DEWA United?
There's definitely a chance, but the Arlet should already be an XP lane pick.
Is that not
right?
a roam?
I mean, the roam is something we haven't seen in a while, but with the current adjustments, you're right. The roamer Arlet may come back. I think the last time we saw it was MSC 2023 when Keyboy picked it up against Burn X Flash. It's the Valentina ban. It comes in last. Very strange to see. Not in the previous patch, but in this, well, not in the last few patches, right? Usually we see it in the first phase, banned out or picked up. Now we're seeing it in the second phase or completely ignored. It's been a lot of changes in the game, and I honestly love to see just new heroes come up. We saw the Lilia earlier to fend off against that Faramis. AP Bren can take the same routes, or they can try to outrange DEWA United with the Varia pick, perhaps.
That's definitely a possibility. It's still up in the air. It does give them a little bit more visibility, as well as a utility coming through. So that is a possibility, but they go for the Farsa instead. So long range, sure. High artillery burst damage, but very, very vulnerable to dive, which is something that Nolan actually can offer.
He can offer that, but remember, AP Bren already have a lot of great cover for the team. If it's just Nolan, this is going to be a very easy road for the Farsa. The Frederick can provide cover, the Arlet can provide cover, and even the Bruno, heck even, right? If he plays behind the Farsa, using the Worldy, and just his damage alone could zone Nolan away from diving deep into the enemy line. So for DEWA, they need to bank on a little bit more dive. Maybe in the gold lane department, they can go for something like a Claude, but it's very risky in the matchup already against the Bruno. Last two picks for DEWA United, it's going to be the 1-1 and the Guinevere. 3 games we've seen, and 3 Guineveres also. Though for Guinevere, not the same level of success.
Like far from. Has yet to win a single game so far.
100%
Guinevere.
loss, 0%
We'll see
win.
if DEWA United will be able to break this lose streak that Guinevere has actually adapted for herself, with the 1-1 being picked up as well. What will AP Bren close this off with? Is it going to be an Arlet in the roam, or is it going to be Arlet in the EXP? What will Ogwin play?
Safe choice should be just the XP Arlet. Pick up a roamer like, heck, even maybe something like a Minotaur would work. But they go for the Phoveus.
There you go.
And it's going to be an Arlet mid. Or no, Arlet roam. Just as you said it, Eterna, it's the Phoveus in the XP lane for Flapteasy, utilizing the flex pick all the way to the end and countering the Nolan in the very end.
We saw this strategy in all the way from the first game, and it didn't work out the way that they planned. I mean, this was the exact same matchup, right? Uranus and Phoveus in that EXP lane. We saw the Phoveus in the early stage being heavily pressured, but of course the pilots are different now. It definitely could be a skill matchup that they can utilize. We'll see how this goes as the predictions. Very interesting.
Oh, this is going to be really hard for DEWA. I feel like AP Bren might have just outdrafted DEWA already. Remember, it's not just the Nolan, it's the 1-1 as well.
Oh, you're right.
It's very, both these heroes reliant on dashes.
Smash them.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome you to match number 3, game number 1 in this best of 1 series between the Indonesian rep DEWA United and the Filipino rep AP Bren. With both of these teams being able to secure their wins today, one of their win streaks will break. We'll see who comes out on top in Group A.
Wow. Early on already. Now it's going to be Ogwen who walks up into the enemy jungle, just trying to provide some utility, but yeah, it's also a Guinevere roam that's actually used up by Shaco here. Not the jungle that we usually see, so maybe that win rate can turn. Yeah, another plot twist here in the draft for DEWA United as well. They're basically saying you're not the only ones who can do it, but this Guinevere in the roam. Last time we saw it, I believe it was Godiva actually, who used the Guinevere as a roamer. But back then, you need that passive to still get the spatial migration knockup. This time, just with the spatial migration alone, you will be able to get a knockup. So, a more instant source of initiation for the Guinevere this time around.
But I think, oh, wait a minute. Lanaya getting very aggressive, and that's going to be first blood falling to the hands of Lanaya. Already a 1-0-0 for the DEWA United jungler with that first takeaway in the first minute. But back to that point, with so much purifies from the side of AP Bren, how effective can this Guinevere roam actually be?
I think if it can bait out all the purifies, it's still going to be effective, right? That Requiem lasts for quite a long time. And hey, for Shaco, he has a lot of survivability. He jumps in, he can also just jump back out. What AP Bren needs to be careful of is the early game snowball potential. Spatial migration connecting for Shaco onto Ogwen, just to try to out-damage him, out-trade him, but Ogwen gets a lot of HP back with a Vengeance reset. In this trade, he's got to be careful though. Now chased down by 3. A flicker, but all the way just to the pit. He gets a stun down with a Vengeance as well, with the spatial migration. And the help of Kaze gets the kill back. It's 2 kills traded in by AP Bren though. They're able to find a turtle for free.
Okay, so already a very different idea that we're seeing here coming in from DEWA United. They're looking to pressure AP Bren from the early stage of the game, realizing that most of the heroes that they have opted for do require a little bit more time to progress into towards the items, mainly the gold lane and of course Farsa.
Looking at the emblems, nothing too crazy, right? The only thing I want to see or point out is the fact that Shaco has gone for the Brave Smite. Tank emblem into that Brave Smite with the power with the Wilderness Blessing actually to rotate across the map a bit faster. How effective it is still something that I'm questioning. Still something that I want to see here. Because so far, despite the 2 kills that they have, the fact that AP Bren are still equal in gold shows you that it's going to be quite a problem for DEWA United once it comes to the mid game. That level 4 power spike for the Phobius, it's going to hit.
Truly is. Shaco opening up the map, giving some information to his team. But it looks like, oh, he's going very, very aggressive.
Even the final slash with the Violet Requiem there saves Shaco for a bit. Caltizi gets a good taunt up onto Lanaya. Appraiser's Wrath even committed down in the enemy jungle. But both teams will decide to just take it slow. Just like you guys can on Omni. Go and watch the documentary, mini documentary on Evos' brand ambassador Una and Bigatron's player Vin. More of a fight. Shaco taunted up. Oh, final slash dodged away from Shaco. Spatial migration into the front. Trying to find a cheeky little pick off, but will not find it. But it does give Watts a bit more time to get that weakness point.
Ooh, that was a little close for comfort though. I thought, all right, cool. Shaco got out. Wasn't able to be taken down by AP Bren, but then he dashes way back in. Luckily, it didn't amount to much from the side of AP Bren, but it does give them enough space to perhaps set up for this turtle first. Let's see, Lanaya is level 8. From the side of AP Bren, oh, Shaco goes in.
And it's a Requiem to combo it together to fracture as well. Ogwen taking low, but he's still able to survive. A final slash as well to bring Dixon and Shaco to the right side of the map. And now even a Demonic Force committed in by Flapteezy to zone the rest of DEWA United away. For AP Bren, the rest of them, to pick up a free turtle.
Well played by the Filipino reps, AP Bren. They realized that Caltizi was actually a level below of Lanaya at that point. They forced a fight, was able to get an advantage, burn out the resources coming in from DEWA United, and were able to get a bigger say in terms of that turtle. But here we are. Ogwen. Man, Arlet Rome is kind of gross.
It's back to its oppressive state. The adjustment to the base stats, right? That was really what kind of stopped Arlet from becoming a roamer anymore, because you have to build damage on this hero to actually deal damage. Now for the healing, the sustain, and the damage, with those base stats already being buffed out, he can just go in without a care in the world with tank items. Even with the quantum charge. That's a quantum charge on the Arlet. And now it's going to be a siege down below. Ogwen marching forward again in the bottom lane. Why going to be changed? So you see the final slash brings them back. It is a free hit from Super Marco. A desperate Requiem for the side of Shaco trying to evade. But Ogwen still gets out. It's only 2 members taken out for free. AP Bren dominating the bottom lane team fight.
They're so patient. They're coming back. With DEWA United leading in that early game, they've turned it completely around. AP Bren 6 minutes in, already a 2k gold lead, and they've taken all the kills for themselves as well, turning it back, taking all the turrets from DEWA United one by one as they look to invade. Even the buffs coming in from DEWA United. Shaco goes in.
Going for the orange buff steal. Caltesi, Appraiser's Wrath. The crossbow tang is ready, but look at the zoning from Super Marco. He's walking up forward and dishing out damage to provide the cover that the team needs. And even up top, this lane that should be an oppressive one against the Phobius. We saw this same matchup earlier in match number 1, Mielo versus Flapteezy. Flapteezy was on the Uranus, and Flapteezy was able to bully the Phobius. Not the same outcome this time.
No, it's a completely different story. When with Flapteezy being able to win that lane, he is going to have a little bit more say in terms of this next neutral objective, where APBR have actually already baited it towards their side. Calteezy and Lanaya, this might just be a free turtle here for APBR.
DEWA have no way to get into this turtle pit unless Lanaya just dashes in, but now gets caught in the demonic force, chased down all the way. The more you dash, the more damage Flapteezy does. And Ogwin picks up the kill. At this point, even when the Arlet gets the kill, does it really matter that much? Eternal Ogwin got 3 kills in the first game. Now he's on 3 kills again.
How? He's a roamer.
He's a killer roamer.
He's a killer roamer. That's what we're getting here in this match. But DEWA United, they found a little bit of compensation, right? They were able to get a little bit more pressure in the bottom lane, but look at this.
Final slash, Kaze and Lanaya locked down. It's another realm though. Granted him enough HP, and that's the crossbow of Tank from Watt to shift it over. A good shutdown picked up with the Appraiser's Wrath, connects onto 2. Caltesi dashing out to safety. Dixon still running him down. But DEWA wants to secure this purple buff. Can they? Caltesi just retreats it, gets a taunt in, and gets out.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't get it.
Nope. It's just a retreat clean from Kyle.
Man, Lanaya. All his resources are being kept away from him by APBR, and to make it all worse, Super Marco will be able to secure a tower in that top side, propelling him even further in this game, with him already quite far ahead. Where is he at? Super Marco, 103 KDA so far. Not even a single time taken down.
He's playing it chill because, again, in this matchup, it's already a pretty good matchup for the Bruno against the Wanwan. Especially when you're just trading, when you're just farming. The Wanwan is actually going to be the one losing out on, in a lot of these trades slowly.
Why is that? Is it the Pope coming in from Bruno?
It's the damage and obviously also the dash. The dash that gets him to safety whenever the Wanwan tries to get an all-in. The only way Wanwan wins is if he gets the weakness point all around and get a crossbow tang in to win that trade. It's an all-in, not a trade. But against Bruno, it's almost impossible. As long as Super Marco times that dash properly, according to the first skill of Wanwan, there's a very, very low chance of Wanwan actually hitting that.
And to make it worse, Super Marco actually has Purify.
Yeah.
So
reset.
Just in case all goes south, he can just pop in that Purify to completely deny all those weakness points. And Watt is caught in a disadvantage. And there you go, the Lord already just blitzed in by APBR, by the Bees. And that's going to be a free one over to the Filipino representatives.
They're having a field day in the 9th minute of the game with the Lord spawning up top. It's a big, big question mark as to why DEWA United did not ban the Phobius in the second phase. And why is that, Eternal? Did you... Maybe they thought the same, right? They thought, Arlet, no way it's going to be flexed into the roam position. And then meanwhile, Ogwin says, hold my bottle.
I mean, that definitely is a possibility. Meanwhile, Anaya, though, he's angry.
Fracture, some damage, but that's some good damage back as well. Anaya might be picked off. It's a 1-for-1. It's not worth it for DEWA. And Ogwin picks up the 4th kill in this game. The killer. He has almost all of the kills that APBR has this game. And he's a tank. He's a roamer.
He knows he's a roamer, right?
But he also knows he's Arlet. He's vengeance.
He's vengeance. The towers are going to be falling one by one here as all 3 lanes are going to be pushing. Ogwin being able to control that bottom side. Shaco!
It's a Requiem, but Super Marco just gets out with the Purify, and it's DEWA who actually have to commit a Netherrealm, a big resource. They're trying to siege down the base turret. DEWA United doing a good job at still keeping it intact, but it's lost so much HP, and the next push should certainly be 1 base turret down.
Back foot. DEWA United, they're definitely on the back foot right now. 6k gold lead and counting. The entire map, ladies and gentlemen, as you see it here, is red. APBR, they're controlling every single lane, every single interaction that both of these teams are going to be experiencing. And all they need to do now is just buy time, get as many resources away, aka the buffs, which they already have, and take down the Lord, or even utilize it to bait DEWA United at this point.
And I always say this when I'm talking about AP Brand, whether if it's I'm casting or if I'm streaming, but when AP Brand gets a lead in the early game, no matter how small that lead is, they're probably one of the best teams at utilizing that gold lead to build into a death ball. If you give AP Brand a 3,000 gold lead in the mid game, it's almost over most of the times. It's very rare that they actually throw this lead. And for DEWA, especially considering the composition that they have right now, countered heavily by the Phobius, that chance gets even smaller.
Flashbacks.
To what?
Echo Express.
Echo Express.
Flashbacks.
See, the way AP Brand do it though, they're very calm about it. They don't go for fights. The way Echo does it is, we fight. They fight. They also drive sometimes. They drive the game.
And it looks like, oh, what?
That's what happens when you try to engage on them. The Phobias, the more you dash, the more damage Flap does. Dixon brought back in one last shot. Super Marco picks up a double. You try to find AP Brand with a gold lead, and it will not go your way.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's disappeared.
Luckily, he's on a fair miss. He can get back to the full and respawn in, but with Caltese walking up on this Fredrin like an absolute Chad, it's Lanaya who gets sniped down with a feathered airstrike all the way from the orange buff. Super Marco free hitting now, going on to Kaze, and that's another health bar completely disintegrated. What follows next? It's a desperate spatial migration to the back, and the base will be taken down. 12 minutes, super fast games from AP Brand, then DEWA, and then AP Brand again against DEWA.
And that's a 2 versus 1 in terms of points, ladies and gentlemen of Group A. The Philo representatives, AP Brand, the tournament favorites, the MPL PH champions, will be leading this group for now, as that was the last game of Group A. We'll see them again tomorrow. We'll see how it goes out. But that was just beautifully played by AP Brand.
It was more than beautiful, Eterna. It was beautiful, it was clean, it was disciplined, it was tactical. Almost as tactical as Arashi. And that's why we gotta give it to the expert of tactical goodness, Arashi. How tactical was that, buddy?